Marketing in 2025 is wild. Savvy customers spot fake messaging instantly, privacy changes make ad targeting a nightmare, and everyone needs more content than ever. That's why you have to check out HubSpot's new marketing trends report. It doesn't just show you what's changing, it shows you exactly how to deal with it. Everything's backed by research, but focused on marketing plays you can use tomorrow. You ready to turn marketing hurdles into results? Go to clickhubspot.com/marketing to download it for free. All right, good morning, everybody. Today's Tuesday, March 25th. I'm John Weigell here with Rob Litterst, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. "23andMe is on its way out. The company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy this week, and its CEO Anne Wojcicki resigned. Once achieving a $6 billion valuation in 2021, the company was plagued with privacy concerns and the inability to turn a profit. So what exactly happened and what's next for the company? We'll chat about all that in a bit, but first let's give you the news in business and tech. Starting us off today, United Airlines is looking to bring in more cash. The company announced that fees are going up for both its rewards credit card and its lounge access cards. The latter will now cost $750 a year per person. This comes as many airlines like Southwest are looking to squeeze their high-income loyal customers, Rob. So a lot of squeezing happening across the board with airlines.
A lot of squeezing. I didn't really realize this until COVID and hearing about the airlines, being on the brink of bankruptcy with people not traveling. But I think airlines are a pretty tough business.
Yeah.
You got to keep prices pretty competitive. And you obviously have these monstrous assets in airplanes that cost a lot of money. So, I'm not really surprised to see this. The interesting thing is just this lounge access card. So this is going to be $750 a year for United Airlines, which does not strike me as kind of like a premium brand.
Right.
But then you also have the credit card companies that all have their own lounges, and they're charging you for their lounges. The lounge thing is really interesting to me. I've had a Chase Sapphire forever.
Same.
And I think with Chase Sapphire, you get a priority pass. I think that's what it's called.
I got one of those.
Yeah.
Yep, same boat.
But dude, those lounges are always packed.
They are.
It's not exclusive at all. So I actually do think that there's a play out there for a really exclusive high-end lounge. I think that could be a really cool play if any of the airlines really wanted to dip in.
Yeah. This is interesting to me because of the price for the United Lounge, because I don't think I've ever heard of a United Lounge being particularly fantastic.
Right.
Or particularly super nice. I was in Doha. The lounge there was crazy, but I really don't think in the US we have any extremely nice lounges over here. So I would wonder if it warrants $750 a person for a United Lounge. Right. So I don't know, maybe they're stepping their game up there too. So if they want to go more luxury and charge luxury prices, that is well within their purview.
Totally.
Next, New York City's congestion pricing, the one we all love, raised about $52 million in toll revenue in February, bringing the program's total to over $100 million for its first 2 months of operation. Let me know when you fix the subways. Next, Chinese EV giant BYD has officially outsold Tesla. The company's sales last year passed $100 billion, eking out Tesla's $97.7 billion. Even though BYD is not selling passenger cars in the US, the European, Asian, and Australian markets are absolutely booming for them. And speaking of more car news, South Korean automaker Hyundai is set to announce a $20 billion investment in U.S. onshoring. This includes a $5 billion steel plant in Louisiana that's going to make next-gen steel and manufacture a whole new fleet of electric vehicles. This is going to be said to create about 1,500 jobs, and it sounds like a great way to dodge some potential tariffs. And finally, McDonald's Canada is rolling out the McVeggie, a patty made with a blend of vegetables at select restaurants. This is the second time the chain has tried to pry the beef back from its customers. It launched plant-based Beyond Meat patty in 2019, so it's been a bit since they had a plant-based or vegetarian option on the menu for a burger. What do you make of the McVeggie, Rob? Do you think it'll catch on?
I have a weird take on this. I think the fact that it's coming from Canada is actually better. I think Canada has a nice brand awareness, honestly. I don't know if brand awareness is the right term, but Canada is well respected. The people are nice. I picture, a Canadian farmer really taking care of their veggies, and I picture their food being really healthy.
Mhm.
And maybe that's just like a crazy bias or perspective, but I actually would try this veggie burger. I like veggie burgers in general. If you're in the Austin area, Pete Terry's veggie burger is elite.
Yeah.
I think, the Beyond Meat patty never really tempted me. I would love to see how this does, because obviously McDonald's has some really successful kind of novelty burgers. The McRib
Oh, yeah.
would be really cool to see a veggie burger pop off.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't had one integrated for a long time previously. It's kind of surprising that they just launched this. But yeah, I see it catching on. Like if people go to McDonald's and order a fillet of fish, then why wouldn't they order a veggie sandwich from McDonald's? So I could see it working.
Totally.
So, if you're listening to this podcast, you are more than likely thinking about business ideas. Every entrepreneur has a million ideas vying for attention in their brain, and there's probably that one idea you can't stop thinking about. The one that came to you at 2 a.m. that you got up and wrote down somewhere. Well, I'm here to tell you that idea could be worth $5,000 right now. The Hustle and Indie Hackers are teaming up to find the next great founder and get them started with $5,000. All you got to do is record a 60-second video pitch telling us your business idea, how it makes money, and why it's awesome. One winner gets $5,000 cash plus promotion to millions of Hustle readers. Make sure you enter by April 4th at thehustle.co/bigbreak. That's thehustle.co/bigbreak. You can also click the link in the show notes of this episode. The winner will be announced on April 11th right here on the Hustle Daily Show, the Hustle newsletter, and on the Hustle's social accounts. Now get to pitching.
Okay, on to our main story. It's come to this. 23andMe is on its way out. So, Rob, what is exactly happening over at the genetic testing company?
Yeah, things are not great for 23andMe right now. They filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection on Sunday and said CEO Anne Wojcicki had resigned. Anne Wojcicki, again, also a co-founder of YouTube, so has a very deep resume in tech. The move follows a number of issues in recent months for 23andMe, and ultimately it kind of like caps off a really tough run over the last few years.
Yeah, the last few years have been really rough for them as a company because they IPO'd in 2021. And how'd that go for them? It went pretty great for them, I thought.
Yeah, for a little while at least. I mean, they went public in 2021. They reached a $6 billion valuation. It's really not until recently that the stock price collapsed and left the company with a market value of less than 50 million. So, I mean, you go from 6 billion to 50 million in a few years.
Yeah.
And it's pretty clear that things are awry. I know in July, Wojcicki proposed taking 23andMe private, but a special board committee rejected the proposal a few days after that.
Yeah, I'm wondering what could have caused all this.
Yeah.
It sounds like 2023 was a real turning point for them.
Yeah. So in October of 2023, hackers said that they accessed the names, birth details, ethnicities, and photos of over 7 million users. A data breach notification filed in January 2024 said that it took the company 5 months to realize that hackers had accessed the data.
Wow.
These affected users filed a class action lawsuit against 23andMe this March, which led to the company agreeing to pay a $30 million settlement in September. I think the biggest thing, though, here is it just erodes trust.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
I remember this Charlie Munger quote when Chipotle went through their issue with norovirus and food preparedness. I remember him saying, when you're in the food industry, the most important thing is that your food is safe and it is clean and it is protected. Like you cannot compromise on that for anything. Like it has to be your number one focus. I think there's a pretty clear line between that in the food industry and privacy in this industry. When you're dealing with somebody's genetics and all of these insanely personal details, security has to be your number one priority. And I think that's kind of the tragic flaw here with 23andMe.
Yeah.
I mean, a week after the company agreed to settle that class action lawsuit, all 7 independent directors on the board resigned, which I think probably tells you the writing was on the wall.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty tough. When you consider privacy for them, that's always been a concern too, even before this hack happened, that all these people were submitting their genetic data to this company. And there were a lot of people wondering, okay, well, what happens if that data is accessed? What happens if that data gets out? And, like anything in this world, if you think it's possible, it is possible. And they did leak data. So That is the tough part about this, because this company really, really tried to protect the privacy of its customer base, but in the end, it really just couldn't. And it took them, even as you said, 5 months to figure out that there was any breach at all, which is even worse. So class action lawsuit, totally warranted here, but just a tragedy of not being on their stuff when it comes to privacy and cybersecurity.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's pretty tough.
Yeah. So I feel like this bankruptcy filing isn't a surprise.
No.
We've kind of known for a while that they were dipping down. I mean, in late 2023, they cut about 40% of their jobs. Whenever a company cuts them at such a large measure, you can only imagine that they're getting ready for a sale. So I guess at this point, what are they doing? I mean, they declared bankruptcy. What's happening now?
Yeah, so the company will continue operating while seeking a buyer to maximize the value of the business and continue cutting costs, as you noted. 23andMe users were told to consider deleting their data by California's Attorney General, considering the data might be sold off with the company, which I think makes a lot of sense. So if you've used 23andMe and your data is in there, you don't really know where that data is going to go at this point. I mean, I would imagine any buyer is going to take their responsibility pretty seriously with protecting that data, but you never know. And at this point, it hasn't gone so well so far. So I think deleting data would probably be a prudent move. But yeah, a tough story. I mean, I think it's going to be one of those where it's like 23andMe walked, so whatever the company's name is could run, right? Mm-hmm. There's definitely going to be a company that turns this into a big business at some point, because people want to know where they're from. People want to know, what their bloodlines look like. They want to know if they have any predisposition to any illnesses or anything like that, especially with everything that's going on in health tech right now and biohacking. Like, it's all so hot right now. And I think this plays really well into that space. And I think 23andMe has kind of like shown those future companies the ropes of how important security is.
Yeah, 100%. And like, you said before we recorded this that you were actually considering doing 23andMe or some genetic testing application recently. So glad you didn't. Yeah.
Personal story. So when we were trying to have kids, we did like blood testing, and I found out that I have blood from basically like Eastern Europe, Jewish territories, which no one in my family had any idea. Whoa. So now I'm like completely curious about where I'm from, what my genetic makeup is. Haven't pulled the trigger on a DNA test yet, but I'll probably be doing it soon.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Whichever you choose, I can't really be 23andMe anymore. So
yeah,
you gotta look elsewhere.
That's true. The options have narrowed.
Yes, they have. All right, and that's going to do it for us today. Thanks for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of HubSpot Media. Our editor today is Robert Hartwig. Our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a lot more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, go sign up at thehustle.co/email and follow us at The Hustle Daily on Instagram. We'll see you tomorrow. Hey, everybody. I've been listening to this awesome podcast lately. You know it. You love it. My First Million, hosted by Sam Parr and Sean Puri, is brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. My First Million features famous guests like Alex Hormozi, Sophia Amoruso, and Hassan Minhaj, sharing their secrets on how they made their first $1 million and how to apply their learnings to capitalize on today's business trends and opportunities. Talk about somebody that's really in the now. They had on Mr. Beast recently, and Mr. Beast talked about his origin story and how he made his first $1 million and how you can make anything go viral if you really try to do it, which is a great listen. So I would definitely recommend checking it out. You can catch all the recent episodes whenever you want, and you can listen to My First Million wherever you get your podcasts.